Hey guys, Captain JJB84. Talk about Captain America Civil War spoilers. I got this awesome shirt from, actually, my ma got it for me when she was in New York at Uniqlo. It's very nice. Choose your side. I like this arc reactor in the Captain America shield. Anyways, Captain America Civil War spoilers. So, very obviously, if you haven't seen the movie, don't watch this. But I'm gonna be quite frank, there's not a ton to spoil. Either stuff that was just shown in the trailers or stuff you might have. Yeah, there's just not really a ton to spoil. Let's start off with a problem that I had with the movie, and now I've seen it two more times now, so three times now. One problem I do have with the movie, and yeah, some spoiler stuff, is Spider-Man himself. He was great, Tom Holland. He's fantastic. He's quippy. He's really incredibly smart guy. He's awkward. Like it's great. He's just around all these other heroes, and he probably grew up with some of these guys. He grew up, hearing their stories, hearing of their adventures, or maybe watching them or whatever. He's around Captain America. He's like big fan. He does fuck all in this movie. No joke. Like take him out of the movie, nothing changes. Like Tony Stark just shows up to his house. It's like, hey, want to join my club? Pretty much. That's all that happens. He's another guy to be punched, and to punch. And to be fair, you could when you get down to it, you look at half the characters in this movie. You could justify it to, oh yeah, so they could be in the big airport battle scene. Seriously, Ant-Man, Vision, Hawkeye, hell, even Black Widow maybe. They're just there for the big airport battle scene. Scarlet Witch maybe too. But yeah, see, and the problem you run into when you have superheroes fighting one another is that it's like, yeah, you got to come up with a decent reason for why they should fight one another, but it didn't quite. I'm not saying the reason was bad. I mean, you got that whole Sokovia Accords, and Captain America's all against it. Iron Man's Tony Stark's all for it, though. It seemed kind of strange to me because General Ross, the main villain of the Hulk movie, um, brings it up to them. I'm just like, this guy's a villain, so, and the Hulk is an Avenger, so what's to say he won't use this to his advantage just to control them? I'm just saying it's, to say what you want as to whose side you're really on, but it just, Tony's, the whole, Tony Stark being for it has quite the obvious flaw in that, well, who actually wrote this thing to begin with? Um, but, to be fair, you could find fault in Steve Rogers in that. Well, yeah, letting them be their own thing isn't exactly the best thing, but they've saved the world who knows how many times. Yeah, there's casualties and damage, but what's the alternative? Let the bad guys win and have millions of people get killed, or billions, or in Ultron's case, destroy the world with a giant fucking meteor. But yeah, so, in regards to the conflict, yes, I was more Team Cap, mainly because Iron Man is even more of an intolerable asshole in this movie, more than regular, which, I don't know, found a little off putting at times. Um, Especially later in the movie when it's just quite. I'm just like, you see these two argue, I'm just like, can you just, like, punch each other out already? But yeah, if I'm all over the place, I'm sorry, I'm tired. And yeah, what else is there to spoil? Baron Zemo, admittedly, is a better villain, but by about that much. Yeah. Uh, I mean, his whole motivation. I mean, his plan is convoluted as fuck. It's like, all right, so he's gonna get the Winter Soldier's name and image out there, so they can capture him, so he can potentially brainwash him, so he can lead Cap, Tony, and Winter Soldier back to the hidden base in Siberia, so he can reveal that Bucky killed Tony's parents. I don't know. It's not a bad plan. It's just like, look, if not one of these things fell into place, the whole plan would have been undermined completely. Just saying. But speaking of which, holy shit, that final fight! Wow, just the look on Tony's face, just when he asked Cap, "Did you know?" And it just just his Tony Stark. Tony Stark doesn't act on reason or rational thought. He acts entirely on emotion. You see this in all the films. He built Ultron because he saw a vision of the apocalypse and was just like, "Hey, I'm gonna go create this super thing. Hope to God nothing bad happens." um, or in Iron Man 3's case, he built all the suits because he went through the portal, and yeah, pretty much. And now this, he doesn't care. He's out for blood. He wants to kill Bucky. And what a brutal fight. Just probably the bloodiest fight. You see, after Cap smashes Tony's helmet off, you just see Tony's face like he's just bleeding beyond belief. I don't know, definitely like I wouldn't say darkest, but definitely the most brutal, I guess, of Marvel movies recently. Um, but what else is there? But yeah, that whole final fight was pretty sweet. I love how Cap just smashed the shield into the arc reactor, and Tony's just like, "That shield doesn't belong to you," and Cap is just, "I'm done." Yeah, and then goes saves the rest of the Avengers that were in the prison. And really that's it. There's not much else to spoil. Peggy Carter dies, but people figured that out. Giant Man's in the movie, but that was spoiled almost 6 months in advance with both a Funko Pop, which looked really cool, and a Lego set. Um, and I think the odd rumor here and there. Uh, Black Panther though is great, and it's neat to see his backstory and all. I'm excited for his film because that's what Marvel's got to do. They got to have the one character there just to get us excited for the next film. um, but yeah, he's great. But unlike Spider-Man, though, Black Panther, he had story reasons. He had an arc. He had purpose to be there. That's why it worked. Because I bring up that point about Spider-Man just not fitting in the movie, like not having much to do in the movie. It's because the Russo brothers talked, they talked about that a lot, saying, Marvel said, "Here, come up with two versions of the script, one with Spider-Man, one without Spider-Man, one with Spider-Man, one without him." And they said in interviews like, "Oh no, we always planned to have Spider-Man. We're gonna, do great things with him." He's in 3 scenes, one of which is a nice post-credit scene. So go figure. So yeah, and that whole deal with Sony, it's just like, okay, now we can finally get somewhere. They cast a good actor, the costume looked good, and when that trailer came out, everyone got excited, even if it was only like 3 seconds at best. And he just amounts to fuck all. Just saying. But not much else to say. The point I want to get at is that, and this kind of goes back to, I guess you could say, the core problem with Marvel movies as a whole is that this film is absolutely like risk free. Like seriously, apart from the Avengers are split up. I'm like, well, they were split up at the end of Age of Ultron, for the most part. It for everything that happened, and given the source material. Now, I'm gonna have a bit of a contentious opinion here. I tried reading the Civil War comic. It is a piece of shit. I'm sorry. The writing it's just awful. I just really couldn't get into it. I just didn't think it was very good. I don't know. Maybe I'll read it again sometime in the future, but just the comic as is, I didn't think was very good. But from what that comic took several risks. Several risks here and there with the story, and killed off quite a number of people. But the point I'm trying to get at is that they took something that is all about risks and consequence and other such stuff, and they made a movie that has none of that whatsoever. No one dies. I mean, Peggy Carter dies, but she dies of old age. The second Marvel hero to die, dies of fucking old age. That's it's hilarious. I think about it. Uh, but yeah, that's all I really have to say. And it's by the end of the film, you know, Cap sends Tony that package saying, "Hey, if you just phone that phone and you'll be able to find me." So I'm just like, oh, they're all kind of buddy bud at the end of the movie anyway. So once again, it just kind of felt like, huh. That being said, though, I do think this is one of Marvel's better films. Maybe in the top 5, yes. Oops. Oh, shoot. My computer did something funny. In the top 5, absolutely. And I'm excited for, what's to come. I just wish, everything that Russo said, what Kevin Feige said, it'll change the psychology of the MCU. I just wish that came more to fruition. I mean, yeah, obviously we're going to have to wait until we see, the few other films, until we see, I guess, Tony Stark again. Well, we're going to see him in the Spider-Man movie. I guess until Infinity War, where I guess they all just join in to fight Thanos. Franchises. But yeah, Civil War on a whole is great. It was worth seeing it 3 times. um, I saw it with my friend. He got giddy as fuck when Spider-Man showed up. And also, what was with the whole, like, Aunt May is super fucking hot? I mean, yeah, Marissa Tomei, she's beautiful. But it just felt weird. I don't know. Also, how does Tony Stark know who's that Peter Parker Spider-Man? I don't know, just saying. And, oh yeah, one last point. Black Widow. Just... Black Widow continues to be the most inconsistent of any character in the MCU. I might do a whole rant on her one day, but my problem with Black Widow as a character is that with each movie, like, starting from Iron Man 2 to Civil War, is that it feels like she resets every time. Like, her development in any of the previous films, it disappears. I mean, Winter Soldier, there was some, like, in the first Avengers, there's some hint of some history with her and Hawkeye. Then in Winter Soldier, there's some dark secret about her that will get released if she releases all the stuff on Hydra and Shield and whatever. Then in Age of Ultron, she had the awkward as hell romance with Hulk, and now here she does something. It's not that she doesn't do anything. It's more just like, given everything that's led up to this, it just feels null and void. Like, why is she Team Iron Man exactly? Yeah, it's even brought up the point. It's like, weren't you the chick who stuck her middle finger up to the government? That is sort of made fun of. And Tony's just like, I'm sorry, did you just agree with me? But, yeah. Not much else to say. I hope Giant Man comes back in Ant-Man and the Wasp. That'll be exciting. It was nice to see General Ross again. I hope we see him again in a future movie. That's what the Russo brothers said. They don't want people to forget about the Incredible Hulk. It's like, it did some good things. But I think I was reading one review. Some guy was pointing out, it's like, how the hell did that guy get to Secretary of State? I mean, he was responsible for Abomination. Well, but that's all I have to say. So, what do you guys think? I just wish it took a few more risks, and I just, why don't they just kill somebody? They had all the opportunity to kill off War Machine. That would have been exciting, I guess. But the moment like you saw that, and I saw that in the first trailer, I'm just like, all right, so he's probably not gonna die. And even Don Cheadle made a joke about that on Twitter. It's just like, look, thank you guys for looking out for me. Oh god, that was a brutal fall when War Machine falls down. It's just poof. I remember in my theater, I just heard everyone go, like a large gasp, and just, no, he's fine. I mean, his spine's kind of broken, but Tony Stark built him a thing to help him walk again, so go figure. But, yeah, that's all I have to say. Overall, Civil War was a good movie, yeah. I just wish I had a little more balls at times, and I wish that Spider-Man had purpose. Yeah. But, yeah, that's all I have to say. See ya.